So now back to our topic, building capacity
For the
for
future.
the future. Number one, I'm a Christian, and according to my faith, the Bible says, "Do not worry for what you will eat tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care
Of itself.
of itself." And in the same Bible, a comparison was made to faith without work is dead.
Okay.
What the first one takes off your shoulder, it takes the pressure that somebody else has got your back.
Okay.
So now, don't worry about what tomorrow is. You being having faith, and without work, the work there is the planning. You
Yeah.
doing the work, doing something. So building capacity for the future as a drummer and as a musician is very profound. Capacity means building strength, building resources,
Yeah.
like for tomorrow, facility. So as it were, as drummers, it could mean building facility, playing facility, your sticking, your legs, how groovy you can play. Plan the right way. A perfect example is to use a building.
Okay.
If you were to build 10-story building and I'm to build 5-story building,
Okay.
you know that the planning will be a little different.
Definitely.
And if you are on the 5th floor and I'm on the ground floor, I'm still working on the foundation, the rate at which we build will be different, which we move will be different. You understand?
Exactly.
So having that understanding that, okay, yes, I'm a drummer, you're a drummer. I have a goal of a vision of the kind of musician I want to be.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I need to understand where I am today as a musician or as a drummer. So it's very important, because if you don't know where you are, your planning will not be informed, will not be efficient. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Will not be efficient. So you need to have a deeper understanding of where you are. Sit down, think about yourself. How long have you been playing? Are you where you ought to be as a drummer? The other person that you started out with, where is the person? How well is the person doing? What level of playing is the person at? Now, I'm still talking bass, like I'm zooming into our instrument now.
Yes, sir.
Because my understanding of building capacity for the future comprises your playing ability, your economic status, professionalism, communication. You might as well say, okay, yes, I want to be one of the top drummers. I want to have my own studio at home. At the same time, you could say, okay, yeah, while I'm growing, I want to build some other side of mine. Like maybe you have some other skills that you are good at. It could be videography, graphics designing, animation, coding. You can't run around watching movies. You have to spend time, look at people around you, people who are doing what you want to do. Ask a question. How do they do it? How did they do it? For example, look at the people that were before. One of the things I was opportune to do was to sit down and think back, okay, why do we have some drummers say, back then when I used to play, back then when I used to play. And I'm like, no, why would I spend so much effort, resources, hours practicing
and later come
to play, and later come to a point that I'll not say, oh, then when I used to. No. Then there's no point spending that time, that resources. But the fact is, I had to sit down, think about it, and look backward. Like, what were the errors? What were the mistakes?
Like you had to evaluate their lives.
Exactly. What were the mistakes? The thing is, you might feel you're shining now and you're taking 10 shows the same time, the same day. Don't worry. A day will come, another drummer will come up that can do that same gig, and they will forget about you. Wow. So really, it's not about the drumming alone. Wow. Like there's a book, talent is not enough. No, it's never about the drumming. There's so many things that makes up a successful career, either in sports, music, in whatever sphere of life. A lot of us fail to understand or downplay the importance of a teacher, of a mentor. You understand? Instagram, people go the extent of practicing a particular field just to post it. Exactly. Not because it's part of their vocabulary on a day-to-day basis, just to entice you. You understand? Yeah. So then you pick that and you think that's what you're going to play on a gig. Wow. So there's room for the place of a teacher you might not necessarily be in the same room with the teacher, but somebody who can evaluate you with an open mind and say, okay, yes, I like your feel, I like your concern. I tell people say, yeah, I want you to teach me. I say, yes, I can teach. Also, yeah, I want to take lessons with you. Yeah, no problem. But I want to come every day. I say, no, you don't need to come every day. It's not English that can teach you. Michael is a boy. He lives in Lagos, and you can memorize it. Michael is a boy. He lives in Lagos. You can memorize that. You can write it down and read it. It's drumming. You have to work it out.
Yeah.
You have to work it out. You might hear somebody play, oh, yeah, that groove is simple. Go on the drums and play, then you know it's not simple. There's so many things that goes into play.
So many colors.
Exactly, you understand. Dynamics, this same pattern, so many people can play. It depends on the swing, the feel. So, myself, it's simple. It's when you now find yourself in a band setting, in a performance setting. No, yeah, you are playing the beat, but the feel. So it's easy for you to feel, oh, it's easy, it's simple. I'm just going to practice. It's not easy to practice. It's one of the uninteresting parts of being a musician. There's so many information, so you have to be selective and put in the work. Practice. We have so much time. You might say, oh, 24 hours, there's not enough time. But the fact is, there's so much time. You understand? Now, that brings us to the fact that, okay, when you're putting the work, you need to be able to monitor your progress. Yeah. There are so many ways you can do that. You can record yourself. You need a journal. You need to monitor yourself. Now, at the center of all of this thing is one word, which I call change. Change is bound to happen every time. Change. And building capacity for the future. Now, here's the catch. Whatever I practice today is not for today. And hear me, practice, not jam. Because oftentimes, we tend to come into the rehearsal room and we play to impress ourselves. Okay. Oh, I want to play around the drums. And we are actually not practicing. There was a time some people are like, I want to come and watch you practice. And okay, so I gave one, I've forgotten the drummer's name. So I gave him an opportunity to come. He sat down. Because I had warned him that my practice routine are usually boring. Even to me, it could be boring. Because I'm working on things that I cannot do.
Yeah.
I'm working on things that I cannot do. Yes, there might be moments where I just let loose, like, let me just play around the drums, but I'm usually working on things that I cannot do. So when people come in, so I remember the day the guy came in, he sat down, I started rehearsing, and before I knew what was happening, he was already sleeping. So the fact is, we all need to practice. Not the essence of practice is to do what you suck at doing, what you are not good at doing, what you are bad at doing, so that you can overturn it and make it one of your strengths. You get what I'm saying? So, like I was saying, you have to put in the work. You have to practice, monitor your progress through a journal. You can take a tape recorder. Thank God for mobile phones. Yeah. You can record with the voice recorder and evaluate yourself afterwards. Now, I said something that is at the core, which is change.
Change
is constant. So whatever I practice today
is not for today.
It's for tomorrow.
Wow.
So let's just paint the scenario. If I'm practicing today, 25th of October, and let's say it's for January, that means for me to be ready for the next challenge of May, I have to practice now in January.
Get that.
So it's a loop. It's a constant. The moment you say, I have arrived, I know it all, then that's when you start going down. Yeah. Yes, you can get to a point whereby you know, okay, yes, to an extent, I think I'm an authority in what I do to an extent. That doesn't mean I can play everything. It's just me, okay, over time, I've tried to build
To be able to build capacity.
in a particular field, in a particular style. Yes, I do some other exercises, which I always recommend for people to work on facility building exercises, systems, whereby when anything is thrown at you, you'll be able to, in no time, you'll be able to figure it out and play it.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So, change is one thing that is constant. The moment you feel you have arrived and you fail to prepare
For the future.
For tomorrow, because it keeps. Okay, for example, there used to be a time that most drums we had around was 12, size is 12, 13, 16.
Yes, sir.
Long toms,
big one.
Yes. As a matter of fact, this drums is even a long tom. Yeah, the toms are deep. If you look at the recent pearl drums now, they're this short.
Exactly.
You understand? So, what does that tell us? Change. Even in gears, change. Innovation. You understand? It is what is constant. So, if you feel, there are some young drummers, they don't play like we used to play. It is called change, innovation. Yes, there might be room for tweaking, for fine-tuning and all of that. And you feel what they are playing is not music. Before you know it, the world will come to accept it as music. The world will come to accept it. So if it's something, if you want to be relevant, because I think at the core of this is being relevant.
Yes,
How relevant are you?
Yes, sir.
Or will you be relevant tomorrow? Will you be relevant 10 years' time? Will you be relevant 20 years' time? There are so many people that started learning this same instrument the same time we did. We set out to learn it, and they are no longer playing. You understand? So now, the thing is, for you to be relevant, you have to think ahead of time. Now, let's bring it back to Nigeria. Economic factor and the likes. Yes, greatly, I'm grateful that I have a kit at home. I have a place where I can practice, I can record and all of that. But at the same time, it didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, there used to be a time, all I had was magazines, Modern Drummer magazine.
Yeah.
I remember that I used to go to Ojo Elegba, under the bridge, before it was Ojo Elegba, to sell used magazines.
Materials.
So I'll go there, I'll tell the guy, help me keep this. At times I pay ahead of time. I'll pay. Then whenever he keeps the magazines aside, then I go at some other time to pick it. That was all I had, and I'll paste it on my wall. Snare drum. The closest I had then was somebody. His name is famous. He was a friend of my teacher then, Tosin Arisala.
Okay.
He had, I think, a snare drum and a pedal. He said his brother sent it to him from the US or something. That was the closest. You understand? So, and at that time, the best I had was this. So, it didn't happen overnight. I remember when I got to the church that I spent most of my time as a drummer was Rose of Sharon. It was through Brawale Adeyemi, Mr. Wale. He was also my teacher. When to Saribisala traveled, he continued the process. He was my teacher as well. I remember the first salary I had. They were like, I think it was about that time GSM was like, oh, hey, will you buy phone? You take loan? I said no. So then we now started a particular saving, what we call Ajo and all of that. And that's what we did. My own contribution, my own part, when I took my own, what's it called?
Part of the money.
Part of my own money. Yeah. It was drums. There was nothing there. It was like, I'll buy a drum. You understand? I could have spent it on t-shirts, and another thing is, like I said, you need to know where you are. Look at the resources you have, where you are going. That will guide so many things you purchase, decisions you make. That will determine if you spend money on iPhone 14. There's nothing wrong in buying iPhone 14.
But is that what you need?
Understand? Is that what you need? Can you afford it? Is that what you need? Is it an asset or just a show of materialism or something? You understand? Is it an asset? I remember I bought the drums. It was even Tosin Aribisala. It was the one that helped me. in purchasing the drums. It was in the US then. He bought it, he sent it down.
Wow.
My dad had it, gave me some money, I cleared it and all of that. You understand? So I could have spent the money on buying 30,000 naira SIM card and buying 3310 at 50,000 naira. And I'll be hoping somebody will call me on the phone. Yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah, he has phone. He has a mobile phone. But I spent the money on buying the drum set. And I could have spent it on some other things if my focus was on some other things. But like I said, back to the magazine thing. I had drums, pictures of drums pasted on my walls, my room walls. So I wake up, I'm seeing it. So if you are in my shoes, in the shoe I was then, and you desire some of this thing, it's not rocket science. It will come once you set your heart to it. You understand? You can try that. Put pictures. You wake up, you see it. It attracts you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You understand? So it attracts. So now, behind change is relevance. You want to be relevant because what's the essence of building capacity for the future? Capacity is more or less like, okay, there's God forbid there is a war coming and you have resources, you have food, everything, you have stocked up that if you stay underground for the next 5 years, you are fine. You understand? For the next 10, you've built capacity. You understand? So same way, such a way that there will be a time you won't be able to practice the way you want.
Have you loaded?
Have you built capacity for that time? So you should always think ahead of time economically, because at times you see people. I wouldn't blame people when you say, "Oh, it drop." When people say, because they play more, it drop. Yes, I really don't say that because economic factor can set in. You have to, like, for example, not far away from now, COVID.
Yeah.
There were so many people. Yeah, we had it easy in Nigeria. But to be sincere, some people did not because some churches laid off musicians.
A lot.
Some churches laid off musicians that they couldn't pay. They couldn't pay. They had to let them go. And some couldn't get back into the system.
Exactly.
Had to move to some other thing. That doesn't mean they are a failure or whatever. But what I'm saying is, you always build capacity. Think ahead of time. What's trending? Not jumping on the trend and they are dancing on TikTok. I have to dance on TikTok. Look at the core of it. What's the principle behind this? People are going on Instagram. For example, people are talking about endorsement, this, that. There used to be a time endorsement is all about the albums you've played on, the concerts you've played at,
the travels.
Yeah, that used to be the criteria.
But now,
nobody cares.
What's your following?
You have
100,000
followers. They give you the cares. You have. I'm not saying the people that they are given they don't deserve it. No, and hear me. They also build capacity
in that space.
Because
it takes a lot of resources to build followers.
They build
organic followers.
Exactly. They build capacity. So if you say, if your friends or people are posting, and saying, I'm not a social media person, you are losing out.
Because you need to have a bit of everything that makes you like 100%.
Except you ride on somebody else that has the clout, and people now say, who is that drummer? Let me go and check him out. Then you can now gain the following. But if you are not on that platform, you have to build it.
Build something for yourself.
To be said, you have to be. It's part of building capacity for tomorrow. So now, like I said, they look at numbers. I've filled certain forms. Like, okay, what album? How many? I listed email at Nathan Embassy. It's been streamed millions of times.
Yes.
But it didn't count.
Really?
It did not. I could say I listed I've played with this person, played with that. I've played on this stage, played to 1,000 capacity. They are looking at the social media numbers. How many YouTube followers do you have? How many IG followers do you have? How many likes do you have on your Facebook page and the likes? And this whole thing didn't start overnight.
Like they themselves, they grew their criteria. They developed. They were following the trend.
God bless you.
Yeah.
So somebody will say, Shaba, how did you get engagement? If you hear his story, the money, apart from time, the money he spends recording drum cover in the studio, you pay video guys, pay
post-productions, data.
You understand? And you just wake up and say, you want to be endorsed by... He has built capacity in that space.
Yeah.
So if there's a space you desire to be known, to be an authority, there's no way. You have to build capacity, and the time to build capacity for it
Is now.
is
Start.
now. And staying true. Don't be like some of the roadside corn seller. This is in January to Susu period. They will sell roasted yam. May to they will sell corn.
Plantain.
You know, they will sell plantain.
Roasted
They will sell potato, roasted potato.
Oh, yeah.
And they're jumping. No, you have to stay.
Be precise.
Yeah, it's not a sprint. It's
Marathon.
It's a marathon. You just have to stick to it. You have to stay. And someday people will know you. People will recognize you for that. People will respect you. People will come looking for you. You understand? People will come looking for you. There's a time in my life that I was like, this jazz, funky and stuff. Short pay and all of that. And shortly after, somebody gave me a call. Mike, where are you? Can you come down to Ikoyi? Marcus Miller is in town.
Yeah.
I was like, in my head, like, Marcus what? Marcus Miller.
Hey.
I'm like, Marcus Miller. Like,
I get
Marcus what? Yeah, Marcus Miller. Yeah, he was in Europe. His drummer had to go back to the US. So he came back he's meant to play a jazz series. And he said, let's go. I'm sure there will be a drummer in Nigeria.
Wow.
And I got your number from Wole Adamoleku. He recommended you. That was Mr. Peter Fisher who called me. Was it Mr. Peter Fisher? Yeah. And he was like, okay, come down. And I got there. Yeah, there were 2 other drummers that was there. You understand? And they were like, okay, we all played with him. And it was like, oh, yeah.
But there's this one that feels so natural.
Exactly. It was like, oh.
It feels.
Because at some point, the second night, he told the audience that, oh, he played with us as if he has been playing with us for years.
Oh.
So he gave me an encouragement. He encouraged me like, oh, what you've been doing
Really pays off.
really pays. You understand that there's someone out there
That needs that sound.
you understand, that needs it. You get what I'm saying? So in whatever you desire, you just have to go in, put in the work, and be consistent. You have to stay true.
Wow.
And don't forget the economic factor. I always tell people, you have some other area of expression.
Absolutely.
You have some other areas of expression. I'm a drummer, yes. But to be sincere with you, in my own little way, I can edit video, I can record, I can write, I can read music. As a matter of fact, I published a book on Afrobeat drumming. So I could say I'm just a drummer, yes.
But there are different expressions.
But we all have other areas of expression that we need to build. So now imagine you're a drummer and you're good at, you have a unique way of viewing things. Maybe you should go into photography or videography.
Absolutely.
You can make that millions from that.
Then channel
it into your drumming. So that way you'll be able to play drums better. You'll be able to play it on your own terms. You can say, okay, I want to book a lesson with Devweko tomorrow. I want to book a lesson with Tosin Aribisala tomorrow. I want to book a lesson with Wale Adeyemi, or you understand? I want to go and watch a drum festival because there's something that brings in the money for you to have an expression, a continued expression on the drums.
Wow.
You understand? So building capacity for tomorrow, it starts from now. A recap, number 1, you need to do an evaluation. Number 2, after evaluation, make a list of things you need to do. Talk to people, friends, identify 5 to 10 drummers. They can be local drummers, they can be foreign drummers. And this is a note too, especially to drummers in Nigeria. We tend to forget that there's one dial, there's one caro somewhere that shows you, no, this is how to use the stick, this is how to hold the drum stick. That takes that time to put you to understand. Then when people now ask you, who are your mentors, who are your teachers? You now mention, no beef. You now mention, Calvin Rogers, Benny whatever, Vinny this, Dave like this. You mention, and you forget the people who have spent time nurturing, and some, they will even give you transport to come for lessons and go back home, not because they want anything. They just feel, I have the responsibility to this person to make him grow as well. Then you now begin to say, you begin to mention, no beef. You have the freedom to mention anybody you want to mention. But people fail to forget that there's one Mosugu who took you in, who showed you, there's one Yinka Adamoleku somewhere, who showed you, this African drumming, this is different, or Papare, this is reggae drumming, this is rock reggae, jump. This is
Yeah.
disco. This is raga.
Yeah.
This is ska and all of that. Then this is rock. This is backbeat. And you now forget about them. You now mention. You now go many miles over the
As
seas.
in, over
You
the
now
seas,
mention
over the borders.
drummers that you've never met. That if you see them on the road, they just say hi, and you say, oh, they are your mentors, and you now make it feel as if there are no drummers in town. Or you understand? I can make a list of my drummers that I love that are Nigerians. Tosin Aribisala, Sami Ibe, who is in South Africa. There are lots of them. Even the new gen guys, even yourself, Benjamin, Shaba, Musugu, everybody, you understand, around me. I pull from them. You understand? I draw resources, Mr. Wale, every one of them, even non-drummers I like. Even people who are still students. You understand? So really, so let's have that in mind. Evaluation, make a list, talk to people, look around you. Who are the people that 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 woos you when they play? Talk to them, get close to them, put in the work, and at the same time, don't forget the economic side. What are the other things you can do by the side that can complement your drumming, that can bring money into your drumming? You understand? That one is a talk for another day, because people say, he has the cymbals, he has expensive gear and all of that, blah blah blah. Yeah. Let me tell you, the fact is everything came from drumming.
Wow.
Everything came from drumming. You understand? And as a matter of fact, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be.
Wow.
So it's a journey. It's a journey. Being relevant. I remember there was a time a friend of mine was like, so how do you keep relevant? Like, well, I try to learn, like to be in the loop of things. You understand? I might not play the reigning style, but I'm familiar. There's a trend. I know what's going on. I'm abreast with. Now I've picked up the double kick.
Yeah.
I've played single pedal all my life, but I realize that there are other expressions
To that.
to using double kick. You understand? So it's all about change, tweaking.
things.
There will be a time you'll be up there. There will be a time that you seem as if people don't even know you exist. Those are the times you need to build capacity. You come out again. You understand? There will always be a time that you are out there, and there will be a time that people are like, Dayo, you play drum. Do you still play the drum? And your mind will like, what kind of a question is that? You understand? But there's always a time that you are in the face of everybody, as it were. And there is a time that it seems as if nobody knows you, that you exist.
Wow.
And so the mistake a lot of people make, when they are everywhere, they think the world is centered around them. No, it's not. So you just have to keep evolving.
Wow.
I don't know if you have questions or anything.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. A round of applause for
Thank you.
Mr. Michael Oloyede. Like what really like catches my attention, the fact that he mentioned that when you are kind of like there, when you are doing amazing things, most of the time we get to think that's the height of everything. Now you forget that there is a future that you need to build. You need to build as well. So guys, this is kind of like an advice for all of us. Like, while you are at the best thing you do, or you are being celebrated globally and all of these things, try as much as possible to start building capacity for the future, because for a future there is a better one. I feel like this question kind of like reside in most permit me to use the word upcoming drummers. Just permit me to use that word. So was there a time in your life or career whereby you almost like left the whole thing, like, I think I'm done? Was there any point in your life like that?
Yeah, there was a point in my life that it wasn't that I thought of quitting, but I just like, okay, maybe I should try. I was like, if this thing is not working, maybe I should just try something else.
Wow.
You understand? And that's why it takes me back to having a teacher at times, like having people around you
That's gone ahead.
Yes, that can say, oh, don't worry, it's just a phase. You're going to get over it and all of that. But yes, there was a time that I was turning between. There's a time when you leave high school, secondary school, you're trying to get into the university. And for example, for my own, because I wanted to play drums, I said I was going to stay in Lagos. My results were very good enough to get me admitted into schools outside Nigeria, outside Lagos. So I was like, no, I wanted to stay in Lagos. So it was either Unilag or nothing. Even last two was like because I chose them as second choice, they weren't going to consider me.
Okay.
It really pissed me off. I was like, I beat the cutoff and all of that. There was a time when a friend of mine from secondary said, Oloyede, if I have this, just borrow me this your result. There was a time when somebody was like, I should come and help him write. I was like, no, I don't do all of that. So there's always, so I was like, I think I was like 2 or 3 years after secondary school, but I was practicing, I was playing in church, Rose of Sharon there and all of that. Before I got into Yabate, but I was like, okay, I was Adama, I wanted to stay in Lagos. I was advised, change your course from I think I wanted to do mechanical engineering. I was like, change to physics or math. I did Yanga, no, it must be mechanical engineering. They did not choose me the next year, so I said, okay, let me go to math. By the time I got to math, those ones from 200, they showed they have cut off up to 280.
Wow.
And I was like, what's all of this? And I kept going.
In a loop.
I kept going, don't worry, they will take you, they will take they've started lecture, they will take it. So I ended up like I went to Yabate. I did computer science and all of that. So, there's always a time whereby you compare yourselves with others, like my colleagues, my classmates. It was like people that I didn't look down. Funny enough, I didn't look down at any of my classmates in secondary school. But definitely, you always know that there are people who are top 10, top 5.
Exactly.
You understand? People who, there are lots of my friends that they were not classified as brilliant, but they were in universities. They reached a compromise. They went to schools far away. They just had admission, but because I was very choosy. It has to be this
way or nothing.
But at the same time, I understand the fact that when you have resources, when you are good at certain things,
you have standards.
You set the standard, and it comes at a cost. At the same time, you understand. So at some point, I was like, if this thing is not working, maybe I should try something else and all of that. But it wasn't a long period. It was just a very short period of time. You understand? So basically, it happens to everyone. There will always be a time that you feel that, am I this drumming? Do I even know anything? You understand? It's just because maybe you've seen some other drummers play something that looks fantastic. Or I remember then it was at Berkeley. This young chap from Israel. He played something. I was like, the next moment, I think it was a few hours later, I sat and I was like shaking my head. I was so like, I wasn't depressed, but I felt really bad. I was like, I saw this drumming.
Wow.
I was like, and I was at Berkeley. I was like, man, do I really know this thing? And guess what? This other friend of mine, his name is, I think Rafael or something, is a Brazilian.
Okay.
And I was like, man, Michael, what's wrong with you? Like, yeah, man, did you get this guy? This Israeli guy. I've forgotten his name. To be said, this guy was crazy, man. He's very good. They all came for the jazz program. I think there was a guitarist, Leo. I've forgotten his. The Israelis, very good. And this Brazilian friend, I was like, what's wrong with you? Because in his mind, it was like
you're good, bro.
Like, man, you're good. Like the things you play, I wish I could play them, that you're not feeling bad because somebody else. So at times when we begin to compare ourselves with others, or I'm supposed to be expectation, we feel we're falling short of the expectation we've set for ourselves, the standard, the level, the goals we set for ourselves. We tend to like doubt, maybe I should try something else. But I always say it's at those points you are always at the brink of like breaking forth into something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a question from somebody. Kind of like you just need a reaffirmation about what you said earlier.
Okay.
So he said, I'm 22 and I'm still learning and I feel I can't make it again. Wow. I try practicing and I get discouraged every time. Please, what can I do?
Okay, number one, you're 22. Can you repeat the...
He said, I'm 22 and I'm still learning. And I feel I can't make it again. I try practicing and I get discouraged every time. Please, what do I do?
Okay. You're 22, you feel discouraged that you can't make it. You're still learning. Number one, everybody's still learning. I'm still learning. What are you practicing? Go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. Can you hold your stick well? Do you have the right posture behind the drums? What are you practicing? Do you know your basic rhythm? Just singles, doubles, and paradiddle. Wow. Get a teacher. Don't feel discouraged. Because I hear people say, I practice for hours, but there's no improvement. the thing is, you are improving, but maybe not in the direction. Even if you practice the wrong way, you will improve in the wrong way. For example, if you learn to play with your full arm, you will build enough muscles to play at certain volume and at certain tempo, but you will not be able to break out of, you will not be able to break the speed barrier because you are limited. What you are doing automatically puts a limit on you. So you evaluate your practice routine. What are you doing in your practice? And as a matter, if I'm going to advise you, I think you should start with playing grooves, simple grooves. Forget about playing fills. Yes, I know that's what chops. I know that's what it's trending. There's a clear difference between what. What is I want to play like Michael. How? What are the things, the process, the things you need to do for you to be able to execute what you want to play seamlessly? And technique comes into play. Technique, feel, and a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
You just need to be clear of what you want. There will be down moments where you feel you are wasting your time. But you just have to be clear. You can't be one leg here, one leg there. And you can always evolve. Like with my band Native Friends, I do lots of singing, playing over the drums. You always evolve. Somebody I don't you play jazz anymore. Yeah, I still do. I still do. God bless you. Because I'm playing Afrobeat. It's just evolution. I'm evolving. Tomorrow you might hear me playing some Madagascar stuff. You understand? It's evolution. Like
I mean everything together.
As much as you can
just taking them.
Take in. As much as you can take in.
Wow. Capacity.
You understand? As much as you can take in. It's as simple as that. So it's just being clear and staying true. It's not always rosy. It's not always rosy. That's just the fact. We are all human. At times I feel, why am I not playing with so artists? Why am I not doing? Always use those opportunities to
work on yourself.
They are called the mean time. Like the times that seem nothing is happening. Use those periods. Work on yourself. Build yourself. Do something unique. Do something nice. Try and look, okay, what can I do differently? What can I learn from this person? If I do have to learn something else, do I need? And oftentimes it's not about the gears. That's the fact. It's not about the gears. It first starts with you. It's not about the gears. People who don't have any of this thing. When I started, I didn't have any. I used to go and practice in church. I've gone as far as Bagada Christ Church to go and practice. You understand? So I've Eco FM then. I'll sleep overnight. I'll go and practice. So it's not about I don't have gears. When people say I don't have drums, that's like, it's all excuses. It's all excuses. I've gone to Bagada to practice. Remember then a polio mix through Mr. Wale Adeyemi. I'll go there. I'll get there maybe around 9. I'll start practicing maybe from 10 or 11. I remember then Mr. Duron, the head of the studio, I'll wait for him to leave the studio before I start practicing. At times I'll practice till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. before I sleep. At times I don't get to practice. At times I'll get there, only practice 1 hour and I'll be so tired and I'll sleep. At times I wake up very early, 5 a.m. before people come in. I'll practice, then I'll go home. Then Rose of Sharon. Service day was just Wednesday then and Sunday. Rehearsals was Saturday and Monday. You see me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, doing work practice. I remember one of those days the accountant said, Mike, but you're already playing there. What else you want? You don't understand. So when people say I don't have drums, you can go and look for where drums is. Look for that friend whose church you can practice.
Make friends.
You understand? Make friends. I remember then in secondary school there was no drums. It was locker. There was this locker that when you stand up, that's what you
exactly.
We modified it, made a way to do a pedal kick. That's what we're using. So there's always a way, no excuses. Even with social media, Instagram, I'm sure you see people playing with buckets, and they're playing well. So
okay, all right. Well, we have a question from somebody. So he said, during your session, you mentioned economic factors influencing one music and capacity.
Yeah.
So I think here's the question. Currently, music drumming doesn't foot my bills. I am an adult, and I realize that bills must be paid.
Yeah.
Please, what do I do?
Okay. Like we said, whatever situation you find yourself in today, It was the capacity you built years before now
That brought you there.
that brought you
Brought
here.
you there.
Your actions and inactions that brought you to where you are. It's as simple.
Wow.
So if you want to change the trend, tomorrow, what you experience tomorrow will be determined by your actions and your inactions today. Yes, you have bills to pay. You have bills to pay, no doubt.
Wow.
How can you pay that bills? Are you still passionate about this drum? All you need to play drums is just 30 minutes daily.
Actually.
30 minutes. So right now you are not in a race to play better than anybody. You are in a race with yourself. You are in competition with yourself. So now if you have to work, if you are doing 8 to 5 job, when you get home, don't sit down with your friends watching what's the popular series, maybe Game of Thrones or whatever. You don't, if you know you are passionate about it, when your friends are watching Game of Thrones, spend 1 hour, 30 minutes to build capacity in that area. You understand? In whatever area you want to build capacity. So, like I said, your inactions and actions brought you to where you are. As we are talking, there are people sharing, practicing, as we are on live online. You understand? So the bottom line is, if you want to rewrite the story, what do you have for tomorrow? Start. Don't give yourself excuses. Don't give, as in excuses. It's easy to find excuses.
There will always be excuses.
There will always be
excuses.
Do not, as in, whatever you need to do now. If you feel okay, you still want to play these drums, look at yourself in the next 5 years. Give yourself time. Don't be in a rush that you have to be doing 4 hours, 5 hours. Look at it, okay, if I do 30 minutes regularly, if I do, let's just do the math, 30 minutes every day, in 30 days, you would have spent 15 hours.
Wow.
Yes. In 1 year, you would have spent 150 hours, 180 hours in 1 year. Can you imagine?
So if I just take longer, we are still achieving.
But you still get there. As I said, you are in competition with yourself as no other person. So imagine 180 hours. If you divide it by days, that would be probably like 8 days. But who realizes 24 hours? So if you even break it out to 2 hours, if you break it out to 1 hour daily, that means you probably have put in how many days? 180 divided by half. That would be 90. 90 rehearsals. But if you are doing 30 minutes, you must have done 180 moments of rehearsals. 30 minutes. You get what I'm saying? So whatever you want to now, economic, yeah, you need to do the work. Do the work right now. But the free time is the time to build capacity.
Not to flex.
If you are playing in church and you are the official drummer, I'm the first drummer of House on the Rock Elevation Church, Redeemed Quarters. Yes, you are it now. In your meantime, what capacity are you building? So that if you decide not to play in that church again, you want to move to another level, you'll be the main. So it's those main time, those free time that you need to build capacity.
Wow.
To build capacity.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now we actually have a question from a legend, and this happens to be like one of the person you mentioned earlier in the session. This is Mr. Adedayo.
Okay.
So he actually had like this question, and I feel like this is very, very relatable to should be relatable to everybody. So the question is how are you able to manage audio recording, drumming, and music business, and in brackets sales? Let me repeat the question again. How are you able to manage audio recording, drumming, and music business? Like I actually put in brackets sales. How are you able to manage every of these different expressions? Because I know sometimes you can really get to an area and like some part is lacking, and it's like, how are you able to manage all these things?
The thing is, it's a give and take. There will always be some area that will lack. Not lack in terms of deficiency, but maybe in terms of you are not running at full capacity.
give you more time to.
You understand? So it's like a computer, but whatever you put in, equal a reaction to an action.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but well, initially, at the initial stage, like I said, we always have free time. So initially, when I started out, and Bradley who asked the question, I'm sure he asked this question for a lot of people to learn from me. I remember then at Rose of Sharon, it was true Brawale that also got into Rose of Sharon. He was the one that said, okay, come, my church needs a drummer, come and audition. Whatever button we pulled behind, I didn't know, but I was employed. You understand? And I was employed as a drummer. But lo and behold, first in the choir, they want to do slides. Then it was overhead slides, projection, overhead projector for lyrics and stuff. Oh, you are not playing, Brawale is playing. Yeah, come on. I can't remember the nickname, but I'm sure some of the nicknames like small boy kind of, because I was the youngest. I think I was 19 when I joined. So I was doing slides. I could say no. I was employed as a drummer. I have no business doing slides. So it was from slides. Then from slides, yes, I have flair for gadgets, technology, and all of that. So at times I get to rehearsal early before others. I set my drums, help the keyboard player to set keyboard. I'll set bass, set the combo. They will come in as kings and they will play. To the extent they will get up, they will leave, I will pack. Even to the extent of some of them not turning off the keyboard after playing. I would do it. It was fun. You understand? It was fun. I was doing from there. I was helping out with sound. From there, I think I from there, from overhead projector, then we got projectors. The electronic ones, like the colored ones, DV projectors. We got them, and I was the drummer. I wasn't paid extra for doing all of that, but there were areas of expression that I had. So I was doing that. I joined the multimedia. At some point, I was the multimedia head, anything projector. At some point, technical. To the extent I went to Praise Foundation, but I had enough time. I had time because after practice, I couldn't practice more than 5 hours now. That days maybe it was just 2 hours, at time maybe 3 hours, max 4 hours. Maybe some lucky days you practice in the morning, you practice again in the afternoon or in the evening. So there's always, after those 4 hours, there's always like 8 hours that I used spent reading. I attended Praise Foundation to learn sound. Even that I was at Yaba Tech then when I was attending Praise Foundation, and I would go to Praise Foundation's classes Saturday and Sunday. No, Saturday we would have full day, maybe from morning to like 4 on the weekend. So I did the weekend plan. And as a matter of fact, it was only one day I slept on campus, just one day. Yes, I live in Lagos. I could commute, but there were people who live close by. They were on campus. As in, I only slept one day on campus throughout my stay at Yaba Tech. One day. Because once I'm done with lecture, I'm on with Japa, church, rehearsal.
Because there's just an engagement after the other.
As in, yes, I had this grace that I could read on my own and understand. So whatever lecture, I'll go and read later in the night. It's like there were times that they would come in, Mike, we are writing tests, oh, where are you? And like, I cannot make it where I am if I jump there, if I run. And thankfully, at times I prayed, and somebody would just throw tantrum in the class, and the lecturer would leave. Yeah, we didn't do it. Let somebody that have just left. You understand? So then there was lots of free time. And for the business side, basically, it all started with, I mentioned my teacher then, Tosari Bishaw, who is actually still my mentor till now. You understand? Then, like I mentioned, he gave me sticks and all that.
Exactly.
So there was that people, even when he was away, because he was playing with Femi Kuti, he was traveling around. So there was a time that I now relocated to the US. Periodically, he would send sticks. Then some people would say, I like your stick. What kind of sticks do you use? And blah, blah, blah. Then instead of me to go online and do my Yahoo or Maga or look for somebody, I was always searching for drum companies, stick companies. I was searching, browsing. I was sending mail. Then VidFed sent me their catalog. Puma sent me their catalog. I had no money to buy. You understand? To cut the long story short, so that was there. So it was based on the fact that people were asking me for sticks. I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity. So funny enough, Ruka Tip came on board. They gave me an opportunity to buy whatever quantity, any amount I had. So I partnered with my friend Toby and all of that. So we started out. So then it was my stick bag. Then was my shop.
Just put everything.
I'll put everything.
It was mobile shop.
I'm going to. You want to come and meet me? Oh, we'll meet at that bridge in Keja. We'll meet at.
Wow.
It was my shop.
Wow.
Then at some point, I left price list at home. Okay, go home. You meet my mom. They say, what stick do you want to buy? Okay, and they look at the list. Oh yeah, 35 lele, 1,000 lele. No, go back. You to consider and you're sorry for those who don't understand Yoruba. And that was how it started.
Wow.
Basically, that was how it started. There was no even particular occasion. My dad sent me on an errand. So from there, I was supposed to go to church. So I had my bag.
Business.
I had my bag. No, it wasn't that I was going for it. My bag was filled with sticks.
Okay.
So I'm going, I got to Agege, I got to person and policeman. The policeman stopped me. And the next thing was like, what do you have in your bag? Stick. The next thing, come to our station. Then the next thing, what business are you doing? You are this, you are a criminal.
I can see those things.
No, you just come stick. So I had to call, thank God for GSM. Then I had to call, I called my brother, called, so stylishly. Then I dialed my phone. I stylishly spoke on my phone. I dialed the number before they seized my phone. So they now eventually called and all of that. Just because of drumstick or carrying drumsticks around. Then I go and bring the receipt. Where's the receipt? And all sorts of things. So then at that time I could I was learning sound, I was multimedia, there's always a free time. There's always a free time to learn. So, but as it became, if you want to grow, certain you need to put in more time. Then I had to seek the help of people, for the business side, presently and all of that. So, but in terms of managing everything, it all comes with you having the mind to do it, and understanding that yes, one would suffer. For the sound, I'm a sound person, but I don't pride myself as a sound engineer because it's also a different world entirely because it can take you entirely out, you understand, of playing. Same thing, if you want to be a full-fledged producer, if you don't strike a proper balance, it can take you away from your instrument. You understand? It can take you. So, yeah, I still do sound, but right now we have so many people that we work with and all of that. You understand? So at times I don't have to be physically there. At times I just come in. There are shows we do that I'm handling sound, but I'm also playing, so I don't have to. I remember then when I started that, even tuning drums, I'll go to a cafe, I'll buy 10 minutes,
30 minutes, 1 hour.
15 minutes. What was I doing? How to tune drums, drum Bible. I downloaded it on a floppy disk. For those who are familiar with floppy disk, no, not USB. Disk. I downloaded
with the paper.
I downloaded it. I gave it to my brother. My brother was working on it. He printed it. He ran out of it. He printed it with red ink. How to tune Professor Sound Drum Tuning Bible. You can Google it. You find it. I read that book back to back. He talked about shell, different shells, ring. You understand? And there was a whole lot of factors, things that also pushed me into all of that. I remember those of sound, then we change the head, but Ali would tune and all of that, we would clean. Then I was shouting, our drums was never dirty. As in, that's a fact. You cannot play dirty drums. Brother will not allow, as in, you cannot go there and the drums is dirty and everywhere. No. So those are some of the things that I picked up, you understand, along the way. There's no other way. Everything has to be clean. You want to play, you napkin, you clean it. Wood shaving, I'll get to some churches and you see wood shavings and they stick all over the floor and the drummer will just comfortably sit down. There's dust on the cymbal, everywhere is dust and they will just play it. I'm like, no. I find it very irritating. Yeah, so basically, there was a time I was able to do all of that. Like, I'm going to church, my business. Thank God, there was computer in the office back then. Lots of computer people you can learn. I think that was where I learned CorelDRAW and all of that. You understand? So Another thing for people is look at people should not. I see churches, especially churches that gives people expression. And thank God for my pastor, the Reverend Doc. As in, if you are in a church that you have access to resources, don't sit and look at how much are they paying me. You are going to suffer at the end of the day.
Because the other things are
Don't say how much are they paying me that I'll be packing cable, that I'll be turning on speakers, that I'll be pushing fader, that I'll be projecting, that I'll be typing lyrics. All those skills they will break. They are avenues for you to build wealth in one way or the other. You come early to your sound, move closer to the sound people, move closer to, if it's something you're passionate about, something you want to do. Remember there also, I served in Word and Sound. Word and Sound, they sell books, sell CDs. You replicate cassettes. I replicate CDs. There's this tower.
Yeah, exactly.
People after time we collect the master, we repeat, we label it. I was selling CD, books. And I was the drummer, I was played as the drummer. So immediately after service, I will report them. So, but when people say, no, me, they will just use you. Nobody's using you. You are the one not using yourself. That's the fact. Nobody's using you. You are the one not using yourself.
You are being useless.
You are being useless. So when people say, they are not paying me, I can give an example. There was a church, Ayaba Tech, before my pastor became the pastor there. There were musicians there now. And somebody told me then, they say, how much are they paying us that they would? That they're asking for this. So when my pastor got there, became the pastor, he was like, okay, we need to upgrade the music and all of that. He was willing to pay 3-4 times what they were being paid. But we gave them 2-3 months. All of them, except for one who really tried, and I really appreciate that, I think it was the guitarist who really tried to be part of it, you understand? But like I said, building capacity, you don't wait until the money is on the table. People say success is when opportunity meets preparedness.
Yes.
You understand? You don't wait until somebody who can pay you 1 million before you now develop the capacity. The person doesn't have that time. The person that will pay you that kind of money doesn't have that time to wait for you to develop. So you have to be developed.
More like a plug and play, just go.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Wow.
I think we've spoken enough.
Guys, thank you so much for joining this far. And guys, a round of applause for our facilitator, Mr. Michael Oloyede.
Thank you. On a final note, I would like to say thank you to the guys behind the scene, Emmanuel and Oluwa.
Actually, yeah.
And on the final note, like the question I asked about someone who said he's in a 9-to-5 job,
Yeah.
or just not music related, and he feels stuck. What you can do at the moment is you have capacity that you built in your drumming. What you can do is after you've left your job, find a way to practice. Find a way to put something, even if it's at weekends. Instead of thank God it's Friday, weekend. No, find a way to, like now, social media, always put something out. A time will come, somebody will call, because the really reason why you're doing 9 to 5 is because you need money to pay certain things. Yeah. But you never can tell where certain jobs will come. So in this process, you can start saving, start doing something that can bring money on the side. It might take a time to build it, to get to an extent I can say, okay, at least I can feed myself, I can pay my rent from the money I make off this, and then I can let go of this 9 to 5 job.
Yes,
you understand? So you might have to think about that, doing that. And social media, just keep posting something. You never can tell somebody, so I need a drummer, I need somebody, and it will just be it. Whatever they are offering you for per show already pays your bill for the year and all that.